My name is Becky Williams. I went to vegan it was October 1st, 2017. Went vegan because my sister called me and she said, I watched this documentary called What the Health? And I'm going vegan. And I was like, that's so unhealthy, man. And I wanted to talk her out of it. So I was doing my research and I decided, I'll give it a fair shake. I'll find the 3 points that are iffy healthy, and then I will crush this thought like the unhealthy thing that it is, because I love my sister and I care about her. And I was doing my research and I found Dr. Michael Greger, and I found that it's the only diet and lifestyle that reverses heart disease and diabetes. And I said, you know what? I called her back and I said, I'm on board. I'm ready to do this with you. And so she lasted about 3 weeks, and here I am about 6-ish years later, and I'm really enjoying myself.
So my name is Tiffany, and I've been vegan since about 2009. I went vegan after being vegetarian since about 14 years old. I went vegetarian when I got to a point where I just talked to my mom and told her, I don't like eating meat, I don't like the taste of it. And she said, girl, you can feed yourself. And I did. Fast forward, I met my husband, and he barely ate any vegetables. French fries, that was his vegetable of choice. And I was vegetarian. I thought, I don't know if this is going to work, but love. So we fell in love and got married. And he actually came to me a couple years into our marriage and said, I've been reading some things. I've seen some stuff on the internet. I watched some clips from this video, Earthlings, and I think I want to go vegan. And I was like, no, I can't believe this. Like, sure, I believe that. Just like when you told me you wanted to quit smoking cigarettes, which he did do. And so I called his bluff, and I was like, okay, sure, I'm on board. I'm already, making 2 separate dinners most nights anyways, so let's do this. And we've been vegan ever since. So I think I said since about 2009. We have 2 children. They're vegan. They're
vegan from birth?
No, not from birth.
Okay.
But from about 2 and about 4.
Yeah. Because they came into the equation before?
Yes.
Okay. Were they vegetarian from birth?
They ate very little meat. Okay. I think every little kid with the standard American diet is fond of a chicken nugget every once in a while.
Luckily, we have plenty of alternatives for that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Were you clear on the catalyst as far as what made you go 100% vegan?
I did a lot of research. I really deep dived into it, and it was for the entire summer. I mean, she called me probably in about early June, and it wasn't until that October 1st that I said, okay, I'm doing it, because when I was finally convinced, this is really healthy, and I was already familiar with Fully Raw Christina and like a lot of her really healthy recipes, and I was like, I'm not gonna go fully raw or nothing, but let's learn what I can eat. And turns out it was a lot. I started eating Thai food, Indian food. I'd never had a lentil before I went vegan, and I really thought I was going to close. Right? I really thought I was going to close off a lot of my culinary experiences, but it opened a whole world for me. And I'm so glad that I was wrong, that I can still have my very favorite food, which is mac and cheese. It's just made from plants, and Daya is my fave.
Nice. And was it a gradual thing, or did you kind of do it quick?
So October 1st, that was my day. I decided today is the day. I'm not going back. But it was that entire summer, 4 months-ish, of really looking at, what can I eat, and what do I eat, and how do I, more importantly as an athlete, reach my protein? Because I had already done a bodybuilding show at that point, and people are like, oh, you're not going to be strong, you're not going to build enough muscle, and you're not going to get enough protein. I thought to myself, well, the only way I would track my protein is if I did another bodybuilding show. So I did it. I researched a lot. I got another coach who said, okay, I'll work. I've done vegetarians before, and she didn't work out. But it was a lot of learning on my own, and I did find a vegan coach, and I rolled with it, and it was the best decision I've ever made, and I'm so happy, and I wish I had done it sooner.
Yeah. What about you? Was it gradual with you?
No. So like I said, I was trying to call my husband's bluff. I thought, oh, he's going to last a week, and then I'm going to be the one who's going to still be vegan, because similar. It's like if I'm going in, I'm going all in. He was great. He's been great ever since. I'll say that, you know, in the beginning, since we have been vegan for so long, like, and we did live kind of in a rural area, that there was a little like troubleshooting what products are vegan, what products aren't. There was a Morningstar product that we were eating for a while that we thought was vegan.
I've been fooled by that
and
one
then
too.
it wasn't, yeah. So then we're like, oh gosh darn, but you know, we're just doing the best we can, you know? Yeah, live and learn, and you just keep on moving on, so.
Yeah, that's cool. And the reason why I'm curious is because sometimes people have issues going vegan. Maybe you learn some things along the way.
Yeah, so definitely living in a rural area, whole food plant-based. Like, we didn't really have much other options, you know? I think we had a couple Morningstar Farm products. We had Garden Burger. Do you even remember that? I don't even think that's a thing anymore. We had Garden Burger, and then we had the Love Life, the hot dogs. Yeah.
So good.
Which was great having young vegan children, because, you know, they're like, oh, hot dogs, like hot dogs they can have anywhere, you know? And I'll say with raising vegan children, same thing. Like, if we had parties or birthdays we went to, I always make sure that I made cupcakes or something to bring along so that they didn't feel like they were missing out. Because I think that's a big misconception with veganism, is people think like, what is there then? Oh, what do you eat? You just eat leaves, you know? Like, you eat like a bird? And it's like, no, I eat like a gorilla. I eat like
A rhino.
Like a rhino, yeah. Yeah. So it was very much an all-in kind of a situation for me.
What kind of challenges might you have had, and how did you overcome them?
So my bigger challenges was like, yeah, I got fooled by Morningstar. I was like, oh, that's a vegan brand. And then you turn around, you look at the ingredients, and you're like, eggs, bamboozled.
Or learning casein for the first time.
Yeah, or
Whey.
when, I actually knew about that one in all my research, but also like when I'd post my vegan breakfast, and I was like, you know, and then this is my cereal, I don't recall what it was, and then they're like, it's General Mills, and they're like, oh no, the vitamins of General Mills uses, you know, beetles, the carmine, and blah, 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 and I'm just like, I had no idea. I just looked at the ingredients on the back and I felt it was fairly safe. The Pillsbury pie dishes, I was like, no matter. I missed lard, that's animal fat. And I was like, dang, it's not even vegetarian. So, I mean, there's been times that you're like, oh man, I missed that. But it's not like anyone's taking away your vegan card.
True, yeah.
You're still doing you're the best you can. You learn, and then you move on. You're like, oh, I'm not gonna buy that again.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a lot of support?
No. No.
Maybe that was a challenge too.
Yeah, I guess you could say
My
that was a challenge.
husband was really supportive, even though he said, okay, you know, that's not a life path for me, but I support you in this. And when anyone would be giving me a hard time, he really was always there to stick up for me. And we weren't married at the time. And so he watched me as I go through that transition. And it wasn't until about maybe 2-3 years into my vegan journey that his heart doctor said, Mr. Williams, you need to adopt a plant-based diet or I don't see you living much longer after your ablation. And he's like, I can't get away from this crap. And we had actually separated because of, I mean, that was a big part. There was other reasons too, but we had separated because I was tired of, you know, prepping 2 meals or just him not eating the food that I prepared for him. And he's like, I really need your help. And I was like, if this is your way of getting me back, it's not going to work. Lo and behold, it worked.
Nice. And you had plenty of support too, maybe?
So no, I didn't have a whole lot of support. My family were from Florida, so a lot of Southern comfort style foods growing up. And I think a lot of my family was worried. Like, they were worried that we were, you know, going to be malnourished. They were definitely worried I was raising our children to be vegan. Of course, like, no, not the children, you know. I say, like, now, after being vegan for so long, they've come around, but disappointingly, I really wish that I could get more of them actually eating more plant-based. Sometimes I can get them with certain things and sometimes not so much, but, you know, gone are the days where it was, you know, be like, oh, can you have blueberries? And it's like, yes, blueberries are vegan. Listen, you're eating something vegan. You're eating blueberries. Ooh, you know. So I have support now. Everyone sees like I have much greater health now. Like I don't know that everyone has a lot of health changes when they become vegan. For me, it had a lot of positive health.
Yeah, and that's one of the questions I like to ask. What kind of physiological, mental, or emotional changes occurred after you went vegan? You might as well go with you since you already started.
Sure. So definitely be more regular. So I was kind of a person that had a lot of tummy troubles, and after going vegan, I don't have that anymore, and I haven't for years. And man, just imagine if you do have the tummy troubles, just all of that food and that animal food, and it just festering, and it's not good to hold on to all of that.
You know what I'm saying? In your gut.
It is. So that was a huge thing for me. Becoming vegan, because as Becky had mentioned, like, you know, what do I eat now kind of thing comes up. It really taught me better nutrition. It taught me, you know, that food has different values, right? And it helped me a lot with my own disordered eating background. It really helped me focus on the nutrition and make healthier choices. Mentally, just really having a hard time with not, like you were mentioned, not having a lot of support. My family was like, oh, you're acting a little crazy right now. And we just didn't have, there was no one out where we were, like no one. There wasn't, I had no vegan potluck, you know what I mean? Like we didn't have anything. So that was hard, and it was just constant reinforcement, like we're a family, we're doing this, you know, we're sticking to it, we're sticking together, and doing lots and lots of research and watching lots of documentaries and trying to get my family to watch some of those as well.
Same question with you. Did you have any like noticeable physiological, mental, or emotional changes after you went vegan?
So as a weightlifter, I really noticed that my recovery happened a lot faster. I wasn't constantly sore after a workout, or even on rest days, because sometimes even on rest days I'd be super sore, and I just felt like I had a lot of energy and I could really go. And it's not a magic pill or a cure-all or anything by any means, but it definitely, I did see those little noticeable differences that I was like, wow, this is kind of giving me an edge and kind of giving me a step up. And when everyone else in the gym that I was going to, it was a private studio coaching gym, was like, how are you still going? And I'm like, I think it's the plants, man. And they're like, you're crazy.
What diseases did you get from going vegan?
None. Here I am, still thriving. It's really funny because during my first pregnancy, I had iron deficiency. I had gestational diabetes, right? And now I don't have anything. I don't have anything wrong. If my blood comes back, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I can't believe it. Like in my family, we have vitamin D deficiency. We have iron deficiency.
Vegan or not?
Vegan or not. Yeah, it just happens to be something that my family, you know, is hindered by, I suppose. I have such so much more energy. I feel like I have more vitality. Something else too is that my smell has changed. I find I smell more pleasant as a vegan.
There's evidence that there's something about that, and now you're the second person today to mention that. What about you? Did you have any diseases from going vegan?
No, not from going vegan. But before, I was anemic. I would have to take these iron pills and get my blood drawn every 6 months, and it was annoying. Or I would faint a lot if I wasn't taking those pills. And now, as a vegan, my nutritional yeast, my kale, my garbanzo beans, my hummus, all have a lot of iron, and even my Chex cereal has iron. I don't have to take those meds anymore, and that's fantastic.
So it's not killing you?
It's not killing me. My mom, she had type 2 diabetes. Her doctor had really encouraged plant-based. She did the plant-based for a while, and she didn't have to stick while she was doing it. Unfortunately, she's gone back to her old ways, and I'm like, Mommy, remember, you don't have to stick when you choose the chicken instead of the dead bird. And she hates it when I call it that, but of course she would. But you know. And
how did you know it'd be safe to raise your children vegan?
I did a lot of research. I just read about other families that were raising their children vegan, and not like families that had their children were grown already, you know, and even more taboo for them, I imagine, than it was for us. And I didn't have any issues with like their pediatrician, their checkups. They were very healthy. So I always would check in, and I didn't have any worries. I really didn't. Their blood work was great. They're happy and healthy. So.
Are they having any struggles that you're aware of? Maybe dealing with kids at school or anything like that?
No, not really. I will say when my youngest was in the 4th grade, she had a little issue with like school lunch. She would bring like seaweed snacks and things like that in her lunch, and kids would be like, ew, what are you eating, you know? One day a kid commented about, oh, you can't eat that. And she said, what do you mean? And she's eating peanut butter. And they're like, you can't eat peanut butter, it has butter in it. And she's like, no. It's not, it's just peanuts. And so then we had a really great conversation about how important it is to know where your food is coming from, what you're putting in your body, where your nutrition is coming from. Just a lot of talks.
And do you get into the ethics at all?
I definitely do. But it's something that you got to tread lightly with, because people get very offended by it and defensive. And I was one of those people who was like, oh no, you know, you need it and things like that. So I know it's something that you have to tread lightly with, but of course I'm like, yeah, that is a carcass, and that is a dead animal's body, and may they rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. What about you? Do you get into ethics? And you may as well talk about your kids too. Do you talk about ethics with them?
So a little bit. Of course, with the kids, it can be, you have to be very careful, you know, because they recoil real fast, like, whoa, you know. But a little bit the ethics. Honestly, I came to veganism because of health. That's why I came. As I said, it was a huge turning point for me in my life. And because of that, I knew I wanted that for my kids. You know, I don't want them struggling with some of the same struggles that I grew up with, or to feel like because their family, you know, has this history that means that's what they'll have too, you know, or there's no way to counteract those things. So a little bit on the ethics, but I did come to veganism because.
If you did have like some issue, like maybe IBS or something like that, how would you handle that?
I would probably go through and think, what did I eat? Something was tainted. I would think that I probably ate something that my body isn't used to, probably milk, honestly. The biggest culprit.
You mean like accidentally or something?
Yes, like maybe 4 years ago I had a Starbucks coffee that had milk, and oh my God, I was so sick. It was horrible. Yeah. It was so horrible. So then of course you're like, oh God, I couldn't get coffee out for a while because I was like, I'm not doing that again, you know? Yeah, I'm not trusting anything.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I ask that is because, you know, some vegans do have those issues and they're able to work it through, but ethics is the core that helps keep them focused and on track. And if you did this for health reasons, you know, it might be a little challenging there. If a doctor said to you, you had to eat animals, what would you do?
I would probably tell him, I know enough now. I would probably tell him, well, let me tell you, we can eat this for this, we can eat that for that. Like, I would probably choose something different. I'm as of now, like, I'm not on any kind of medications.
If a doctor told you you had to eat animals, what would you say?
I would defer him to Dr. Michael Greger.
Yes.
And and Michael Clapper. And there's just so many doctors in the vegan educational spectrum for doctors to show that it's a healthy lifestyle at all ages, you know, from infancy, prenatal, all the way up until, you know, however long you live. Because it could be quite a bit longer if you're vegan.
Yes.
I strongly believe that. And I did. I came to veganism for health reasons, and I stayed for the ethics because it was about a month, 2 months into it. I was like, man, I need a donut.
Oh.
I need a donut, and I don't know what I'm gonna do because I really wanted to be on this diet, man. And so of course I go to the internet, YouTube, and lo and behold, there's a Sweet Theory, and it's an all vegan bakery in Jacksonville. And I watched a lot of the animal agricultural, the scary videos, the horror films, if you will. But the one that stuck with me was probably about 20 minutes long, and it was called The Herd. And it's basically if we treated women like we treat cows, where if we milked women and stole their babies, and I resonated with that so much. Like, I've never had babies myself, but I'm like, they must be so sad that's not okay at all to treat anyone like that. And once I saw it as humans being treated that way, I was like, no matter how much I want a donut or ice cream or mac and cheese or any of my favorite foods, it is not okay to support murder and rape and child abduction. And people get so upset when I say those words, but that's what it legitimately is. It doesn't matter if it's another species. That is what's happening, and that is not okay and not something that I will stand for.
Absolutely. Wow, great stuff. You're a health coach, right?
Absolutely. So I am certified by the National Metabolic Academy of Science. I got a flyer down here. I struggled with obesity in high school. I was over 200 pounds. Yeah, I've got stretch marks on my tum-tum. I've never had kids. I have got them on my arms. I was Big Becky in high school, and not for my big personality, but because of my big love for food. And I still do. We love food. We love to nom. People are surprised when they're like, you put away that whole pizza? I'm like, yeah, you got any more vegan pizza? what we doing? I ain't got a show for a while, so I'm working on these gains.
Vegans are big eaters. I think people don't expect that too, you know? Yeah.
Like, we love food even more because we know where it came from, and we know the nutrition of it, and we know that nobody had to die or get hurt because of it.
What kind of foods do you like to eat on a given day that you try to get in staples, things that you think are important?
I am a boring weekday eater. I eat protein oats. I eat a lot of blueberries. I eat a lot of peanuts, oddly enough. I am a peanut fiend. I love them. They're delicious. So I eat a lot of peanuts. I eat a lot of broccoli, which I know is like boring, but it's true. Beans, veggies, simple stuff. I like to eat fairly simply. And then, on the weekend, then maybe we go try something new and exciting, or we go to like a veg fest or something, and then I'll eat a little more unhealthy foods. We don't like to call foods unhealthy because all food is going to bring some kind of vitamins and nutrients into your body. And I know this because of my lovely coach over here.
More calorie dense foods instead of nutrient dense foods.
Yes.
There is no black and white in foods.
There's no bad food.
There's no moral compass to a vegan pizza.
Yeah, true.
It's not a bad food. You're not going to go to jail for eating a vegan pizza. You're just not.
Or hell.
Yeah, or hell. Yeah, you're not going to either of those places. There's more nutrient dense foods and there's more calorie dense foods, and it's nice to have a balance of both. And with myself, I love to have a mental health meal once a week, where I've gone out to one of my favorite vegan restaurants, or a restaurant that offers a vegan option, and support that. And on a typical given day, I enjoy protein with every single meal, usually about 32 grams for myself. I'm short, so I got a smaller body, so I don't.
When you say 32, you mean for the day? Or?
Per meal.
Per meal.
Yeah, per meal, that's a lot.
So I have 4 little meals a day. I get 125 grams of vegan protein every single day. I'm working on...
is that with supplements too, or is that
absolutely not. Every once in a while I will throw in like a quick protein shake here and there, just for fasting on the go. But no, I enjoy tofu, seitan, pea proteins. I like to make them into like a bagel. Pumpkin proteins. I just got a pumpkin protein at the vegan.
I interviewed that guy.
Yeah, he's super cool.
Nice, protein
vegan
too.
proteins.
Yeah, nice and clean.
Pumpkin
Absolutely.
seeds.
Yeah.
So great. It's
Yeah.
probably
So
loaded
good.
with iron too.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to making that into soups and pumpkin bread and all kinds of different foods. So I eat a spectrum of foods. I love my mock meats. A lot of people are like, oh, it's so processed and terrible, and don't do it. It's all right. It's gonna be okay. I love making a lot of my own mock meats at home, of course, to skip out on a lot of those preservatives. But I'm okay with some Gardein and some Daring chicken and even the occasional Beyond Burger, because they're delicious. And yeah, I understand that it's not the healthiest for you, nutritionally wise, with the heme iron. It's not the best, but yeah, it's always good to get a spectrum and a variety and include those mental health fun food meals.
How many calories do you think you're getting with that much protein?
It shifts quite a bit depending on my goals and my phase and where I'm at, depending on if I'm training for getting on stage and to compete, or if I'm deep into an improvement season, or I'm like 2,500 calories plus, or when I'm about to step onto a bodybuilding stage and I'm usually around 1,800 calories. And that's a diet for me. I'm pretty hungry. And people look at me and they're like, how do you eat so much food? And I'm like, I got a fast metabolism. I eat like 10,000 steps a day. I keep it moving and grooving. I'm pretty regular. Get a lot of like fiber, like at least 50 grams a day. It's real good.
Awesome, good job. With your knowledge about health, what do you think about some of these people that are having some difficulties and claim to have failed the vegan diet?
I think it's absolutely garbage. And I want to be nicer, but I also I want to help.
Yeah.
I want to help them. If they came up to me and they were like if Miley Cyrus came up to me and she was like, I enjoyed being vegan, but my whole I just couldn't do it because of my fish. I needed my fish. You don't. You need iodine that comes from seaweed snacks. I eat
hemp too.
And hemp. I eat seaweed snacks every 10 days to keep enough but not too much iodine into my lifestyle. And then also you need omega-3s, and you can get them in the little vitamin. You can also get them in the drops. They were there at the fitness expo. They were tasty.
The algae drops, they were tasty.
Oh man. But there's so many different ways that you can do it. And I'm like, okay, you don't love that. Let's try something different. Like even with my clients, I take on clients that are not vegan. Or not even looking to go vegan. And so I'll look through their macro diary, their tracking on the free app, MyFitnessPal. I encourage everyone to maybe just track one of their days to get an idea of the nutrients that they're getting, their vitamins and their cholesterol if they're not completely vegan. And I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh wow, your cholesterol is a little high today. Let's maybe take out the egg white and let's replace it with a tofu scramble, or the veg, the soy egg, or even the just egg, either the liquid forms or those little cute little muffin cuppies that they have at Walmart. Ready to go for you. I mean, you don't have to be making every single thing from scratch. You can go to Walmart, you can pick up some Daring chicken, some Gardein, some of those mock meats, hit your protein, grab you some, veggies, throw some dressing on top of them, pop them in the oven, make them tasty, make it something you're gonna enjoy. Throw some, barbecue sauce on it. I love my veggies with some barbecue on top of it. It's a great, delivery. You don't have to be dipping your chip in that barbecue, or you get even some vegan ranch. Pour it on your veggies, make them tasty, make them something you enjoy, throw some garlic salt on there, and make it something that you like, something that you enjoy, something that you want to try. And that's why I encourage my clients, we track their food for the first week, just whatever you eat, however you normally eat it, and then put it in the app, and we'll see what you're eating, we'll see where your metabolic rate is that way, and we'll go from there, and we'll make small changes, baby steps. We don't have to overnight just overhaul, be like, okay, seitan and broccoli and rice every meal, because I've been there. I've done the terrible meal plans for 4 months at a time, and I'm like, I weigh that out, and I get 4 ounces there, and then it's awful. And then after a show, I rebound and I gain all the weight back, and it's terrible, and I binge, and I've been there, and I never want that for anyone. And in my last show, we went out for food, and I was like, I'm full, man. I ate like 3 bites of my mac, and I was like, I got that protein shake from the pumpkin guy, and after I downed that and my full-on...
That was a big bottle. He gave me one too.
Yeah, my full-on carb up was about 1,000 calories, so I was just like, I'm
done.
Full. I did make room for my Green Bites Go protein cake. That was awesome. You can use discount code, #botanically, all capital letters, and you get 15% off with that of a discount code, and they ship nationwide right to your door. very clean ingredients, all organic. Yeah, the green bites, Tiffany tried them for the first time. My husband steals them from me in the fridge. Like, at first I was like, no, baby, those are healthy. You don't want them. those are just mine. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, that cinnamon roll looked real good. So I had it, and you lied to me. They're really tasty. They're not healthy. I'm like, no, they are healthy. And he was like, no, you got to share those now. I'm like, dang it, I got to share my cakes.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now, have you ever had somebody come to you with some of these issues that maybe some of these ex-influencers claim to have not been able to overcome, and help somebody go through that?
I'm not a certified nutritionist. Yeah. I know physique. I know how to, get 1/2 pound to 2 pounds off of you each week. But I'm not certified in that, and I'll be the first one to tell you if I don't know something, I'm going to point you in the right direction to where you can get help.
And you have a guarantee too, right?
Absolutely. I've got lose 1/2 pound to 2 pounds a week your first month, or your money back guarantee if weight loss is your goal, if you are metabolically in the right spot for that. And I can tell you after, the first week of coaching, and if the first week of coaching you're like, hey, this isn't for me, I'm gonna give you all your money back. And if you don't lose 1/2 pound to 2 pounds within those parameters, as long as you're following your nutrition plan and following your step goal, and it's not gonna be monumental changes, it's gonna be small, little changes that we're making. If you're not seeing results, I want to give you your money back so you can go get a hormone panel, because your hormones are definitely going to be out of whack, and I want you to get with a doctor and get it right, and then come back to me and I'll give you a free month of coaching.
Okay, cool. And then what's all this stuff on the table here?
So this is how we met. I went to the World Vegan Bodybuilding Championships that Jeff Palmer put on. And it's just something so near and dear to my heart. He put on the first show back in 2019, and it's an all-natural show. So on top of them polygraph testing you, hooking you up to a lie detector machine, and making sure that you haven't done any steroids or growth enhancement drugs. They also ask that you've been vegan for at least 1 year. And I'm so proud and happy that I've been able to be a part of that 3 years ago and again this year. And I won in the bikini model category. I was also and that's what I got for the model. I also was in the novice, the open, and the beach body. So it was an absolutely amazing experience sharing the stage with all of these athletes and seeing all the big fitness celebrities, in my opinion, vegan people, and seeing them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Robert Cheekma knows my name, and oh my gosh, there's Corinne, and there's Tori Washington, and wow, this is so exciting. And I do miss that Natalie Matthews can't be there because she's a pro in the IFBB, and part of being a pro in the IFBB, you cannot be at any other federation. So I understand why she's not there, and I know it's probably really hurts her heart that she cannot be there, because I've met her and she's just the sweetest person ever. And I'm so happy and so proud to be on that stage with all the other athletes, and then also to meet people in the crowd. So I even met people in the crowd, and I even signed up someone today for Botanically Building for my coaching app, and he's an older guy. He's like, I don't know if vegan is for me. I know my doctor says it is, but and I don't know if I can give up my jelly beans. And I'm like, hey, you don't have to give up the whole bag of jelly beans. Just, maybe only have a handful of 10. We're gonna make small changes, and we're gonna see results every single week. And I have an app on my phone and also on the client's phone where they can connect their Fitbit tracker or their Apple Watch to it. Their smart scale connects right to it, because I know stepping on the scale can be very triggering for people, and we don't look at the day-to-day because it's going to fluctuate. Everyone goes up and down between 2 to 5 pounds in a week, so don't feel bad. It's natural. It's going to happen, and we look at the average and we compare it to the previous week. And we make very small changes, and I look at things like your sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough steps? And then also if working out is something that you want to do, you don't have to, but if lifting weights is something that you want to do, we start very small. If you're going from watching, couple hours of Big Bang Theory to I'm going to get in the gym, we're going to do like 2 days a week, and it's going to be, it's going to have a video, and it's going to walk you through, and you put down the reps that you make, and you put down the weight, and then each week I want you to, do 1 more rep, and then after you've hit 10 more reps, you're going to put on like a little 1 pound weight clipper onto there, and I'll send you the link of where you can get those. And I love seeing that, you're being 1% better. And my biggest win for my clients is when they're like, I'd have a busy day at work, and I'd get really stressed, and I'd come home and I would cope with food. And I didn't realize it because I'd just open a bag of chips and, kick back and be watching my favorite show. But you told me instead of doing that to go for a walk or take a bubble bath or just have a chat with my husband. And it's been such a big lifestyle change and shift in such a positive way. And then I used to reward myself by going out to eat when I would, lose 5 pounds. But you told me to, instead of rewarding myself with food and not seeing it as a reward, just seeing it as fuel, to instead, maybe go get a massage or go do some acupuncture or get a facial or my hair done or something that is self-improvement and self-love instead of self-deprecation. Those are my biggest wins, and something that gets me so psyched and so jazzed and so excited to check in with my clients each week, because I'm like, okay, what was something you struggled with, and then what was your win this week? So we always try to focus on the wins, the positives, and the scale isn't everything, okay? A lot of times I get so excited when the scale goes up for me, because that means I'm putting on more muscle mass. I'm like, ooh, that's exciting. My waist measurement stayed the same and the scale is going up. So that means I'm putting on more vegan gains, and I'm jacked, I'm excited. And so I really try to shift that mindset against, okay, the scale does not determine your worth. It is not your value. No one knows what that number is. Even when I step on stage, they're not putting me on the scale. They don't know how much I weigh. And it's really neat to see some of your favorite athletes, and they're like, oh, I weigh 160 pounds. And you're like, really? Where do you put on, where? And you're like, muscle weighs more than fat. So it's always so good to see, it go up, and staying in a healthy BMI, a healthy body mass index, and being healthy and knowing that the scale isn't everything. And then also looking at, waist measurements and comparing it from, previous weeks, and hip measurements and even your progress pictures. There's been several times where, the scales stayed the exact same, and my measurements have stayed the exact same, but my pictures look drastically different. I can tell I've put on so much more muscle mass and lost weight. I've just recomped my body. I've done a recomposition where I've lost the weight, put on muscle mass. So, they're really just data points, and it's really just something where I can get more of a picture to see, okay, should we hold steady this week? Should we maybe take away 10 grams of carbs or add 10 grams of carbs? Maybe we should add 1,000 more steps to your daily step goal for the week. It's just all data points and information that helps me get a whole picture, and then also helps me teach you how to do it yourself. Because once you hit your goal weight, I want you to be able to have it as a healthy lifestyle. I want you to be able to slowly get away from tracking every single thing you eat. It's a tool, not something that you're chained to for the rest of your life. I want it so you never have to hire a weight loss coach ever again. I want it so you never have to go on a diet again. I want it so you don't have to look for a quick fix or anything like that. I want to set you up for a healthy lifestyle, and I don't want you to be chained to a coach or any kind of thing like that. I want you to be my friend afterwards, and I want you to tell everyone that you know about it afterwards. I'm really looking to grow the company in the future, and I'm looking to hire new coaches in the future. Of course, I want them to go through the same training that I had, the same certifications through the National Metabolic Academy of Science, and personal training certifications through NASM them and be really confident and strong to, of course, stand by my money back guarantee, because if I can't help you, I want to give you your money back, and I want you to be able to get the help that you need to get.
I know several hundred vegans, but there's a couple people give a hard time because they do appear to be overweight.
Those are the ones you can trust. They're in it for the animals.
Yes. And there's not a lot. I mean, like I said, you mentioned sleep. How much of our weight is food and how much of it's other things?
So nutrition plays 80% of the equation. Your steps and getting your steps in is going to be another big 10, maybe 15%. And then all the rest is your other things, getting enough sleep, stress management. I found meditation really helps. I know I was the first person to be like, that's so hippie woo-woo. I'm into science and results. There's science on meditation, and I found that it really does help. So yeah, it is an overall picture of your health and your lifestyle, but nutrition plays such a big role. And I don't like talking about it a whole lot, but I slipped and ruptured a disc about 3 weeks ago. I got surgery and removed it. I was having the hardest time with it. And my doctor's like, don't get up, don't do this competition, don't do anything. And he's like, someone else your same day got the same surgery and their back, because they threw out their back just by taking a number 2. And I was like, well, they clearly weren't vegan and they weren't getting enough fiber in their diet, I can tell you that. The medication does make it difficult, but I'm not straining by any means like that. Like I said, I haven't been to the gym, I haven't lifted weights since November, as much as it pains me and really hurts my heart that I can't lift and put on more mass and be, a better example of, fit, strong vegans. I still stepped on stage. I still took home a lot of hardware. And it was, I really attribute it to my, diet, my nutrition, staying on top of it. And I wasn't perfect, and I don't expect perfection from my clients. I expect progress, not perfection. And I really, I still would go out with family members, and we'd go to a restaurant and they'd be like, oh, we picked Thai food because we know you can have the tofu dish. And I'm like, oh, the tofu still has a lot of fats, and that's more than I planned for the day, so I'll only eat like a quarter of it. But, I kept it in moderation, and I still made it, something that I could be social with. And I even with my niece, I have to be so careful with her, because she's growing up, she's young, she's impressionable, and she went through this phase of, I don't want to eat because I'm gaining weight. And I had to really show her, like, no, that's what really put on a lot of weight for me, is because I wasn't eating enough food. I wasn't consistently eating, and my body thought that I was starving, so it held on to all the weight it could. And then I would, binge because I was so hungry. You can't fight your biology. It's going to try to keep you alive. And so it's really important to, keep that metabolism going, eating food, being healthy.
Let's talk about this other really cool endeavor or entrepreneurial adventure that you're pursuing together here. And let's start with you.
All right, so we run Food Tour V. It is the only and first plant-based food tour in St. Augustine. And it all started with Becky. She loves to travel, and she would go on food tours. And as a vegan, she would go on these food tours, and they'd be like, okay, well, you can get the side salad here and the side salad there, and there's some French fries at this place. And she's like, but I want to eat like everyone else is eating. Like, I don't want to go on a food tour and then literally eat like 3 salads and a side of French fries. And so she said, we need something like this, but for vegans. Like, we need something, and not just vegans, but for also people that maybe have allergens, people that have intolerances, things like that, so that other people can have the similar experience. So she said, I think we should start a food tour. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, we'll see about this. She's such a little entrepreneur, my God. She is just a little fireball, and she's like, no, I think we could really do this. And, she started to get the ball rolling, and we started our business in December, and it's been really, really great. So we have about 6 stops on our tour. We have so much food that really, it's enough for lunch and dinner. It's about just under a mile worth of walking. So like if you have some friends or family and they might not be quite up for the walk, but they're down for the food, it's just a little bit of walking with a sprinkling of fun history, fun facts in it as well.
Yeah, cool. And then you want to add to that, maybe give us a little bit more detail?
Absolutely. We're certified with the city of St. Augustine as historic tour guides. That test was tough. I took it like 5 times. Tiffany's a rock star. She was born and raised here in St. Augustine. She took it twice.
I still had to take it twice.
They said nobody ever passes it their first time. So it also is under that mile. It's more sitting and eating than it is walking. I've even had people with like heart issues and things like that, and they're like, I can't do that much walking. They've gone on it, they've loved it. We've even had a lot of people who aren't vegan give it a go and be so surprised that they're like, oh wow, like this is actually good, and I could actually eat this on a day-to-day, like this is amazing. I was really inspired by the food tour in New York. Vegan food tours, you just Google it, New York. And Vinny was my tour guide. I've never met the owner, but she's amazing and she really inspired me to start the business. So shout outs to her. And there's also another vegan food tour in New York, so we just had to go, and so we took a trip to New York and we went on
a research trip.
Yeah, the food tour before we launched, and we launched December 1st of 2022. It's been going really exciting. When our first tour found us from, where were they, Virginia?
I think so.
They found us from Virginia off of Google. I was like, yay, all the analytic work worked, because as my own independent business owner, that was a tough research and deep dive into Google of, okay, how do I get this to show up, and how do I get my website to work? And I definitely want to thank my web guy, Dewey, for helping me as much as he has, and also our scheduling company who integrates with our website, so you can pick on the calendar which day that you want to go, and if none of those days fit your schedule, you can click on the link and email me, and we can coordinate your own time to go on the tour if possible.
How many people does it require at least? At
least 2 people, just to cover my food cost. I'm sorry. I'd love to have a private tour. I mean, if you're wanting a private tour, you're going to pay the price of 2 people.
I'm hungry.
I don't make much margins here. This is very much a passion project that I'm really looking to open in several other cities as we go along. Like I said, we're really new, and we like to cap it off at 6 to 8 people, but we have done private groups of, how many was it, 14? Whew, that was a big group, which was a little difficult because some of the places we take you to aren't on Happy Cow and are kind of little holes in the wall, and you wouldn't know about them if you weren't local. I didn't know about a lot of them until Tiffany introduced me to them, and she introduces you to a lot of the things in her town that only locals would know, and she tells you a lot of the secrets and a lot of the gems, and it's just amazing to be brought along on that story. Some of them are small and don't quite have the seating capacity for more than like 6 or 8, and that's why I kind of cap it off. But I have made it work with a larger group. We did just have to go and sit out on, it was kind of a cement slab bench in Al fresco, there we go, on Treasury Street, where we got to share a lot of the history of Treasury Street while they sat and they ate. So we can accommodate, but our ideal group is about 8. Though we do love it was a chiropractic office that's also
really cool.
Holistic as well. It's Jack's Health and Wellness. Dr. Rapoli helped me a lot with my back, so I want to give a shout out to him because he hosts vegan potlucks in his office.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And I'm just kind of curious, like, is it like a van or something everybody jumps on? Or?
It's a walking tour, so
it's all walking.
Put your tennis shoes on, and it's under a mile, so it's not much walking, and we take it at your pace. It goes, I think our shortest tour has been, what, 2.5 hours. to 4.5 hours.
The walking, if you were just to walk it and not actually stop, is like 11 minutes total.
Yeah.
It's not very long.
And that's if you're slow and you're taking your time, and if you're doing a brisk walk, it's more around 8 minutes.
Then when you're scheduling it, if somebody goes to your website to schedule this, and they're somebody flying solo, right? Can they pick a day? Can they see like, oh, there's a person going on this day, and I can
try to pair them up with.
They'll need to send me an email.
Oh, okay. It's not like evident on the site.
It doesn't show on the site.
Okay.
It may show when you're booking like how many people have already booked, and if it does show that, then absolutely reach out to me, because on the website it only gives you an option to book as a 2Zs or a 3Zs, a 4Zs, a 5Zs, 6Zs, all the way up to 8. If you see that and you want to go as a solo, send me a shout. I love responding to my emails. I'm real quick, fast on it usually.
Yeah, because a lot of vegans might be going solo,
yeah,
I imagine,
absolutely.
because there's not a whole lot of us.
Or hit me up also on my Instagram if I haven't responded. Always just send me a comment, because sometimes they get hidden in like my requests folder, and I was real bad when we first started, and I didn't know that was there on the social media until I was like, oh,
on
oops.
Instagram, you mean?
Yeah, and I was like,
I do
I'm
the same thing.
so sorry for like the 3 people that I didn't get to give the tour to. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so send me a comment on like my latest little posts. Also on Instagram, put a comment on the latest reel or direct message, or both actually, if I haven't followed you back or if we're not friends. I'm not entirely sure how that works. For sure, if you leave a comment, I'll always reply to that comment and direct message you as well.
What is your URL for your fitness coaching?
It's botanicallybuilding.com.
Okay, good. And then this...
foodtourv.com.
Awesome, excellent. Now, do y'all have a quote that comes to mind in respect to anything that we've been talking about, or veganism, or that you just love sharing with people that's motivational, or anything like a quote? Sometimes a slogan might work, you know?
Maybe we need to have a slogan.
I got one for
Okay.
Botanically Building. It's always plan to prepare and prepare to succeed.
That's a good one.
And then also progress over perfection.
Yeah, I like that too. The progress, like, don't let perfection be the
stopping point.
The enemy of progress. That's mine. I
absolutely.
don't know if it's somebody else said that.
I like it. Yeah, I don't know who said it first, but
Yeah, somebody else probably did.
I like it.
I just wanted to elaborate a little more. I love that, Becky, you had mentioned that this is such a passion project, because for me, something I love about Food Tour V is the community. I love the sense of community. I love the outreach. It's like kill them with kindness, right? I love the community outreach. So for us, you know, we are a college town, but we do not have that many vegan restaurants, let alone that many like vegan options. And so we do a lot of a very gentle outreach by going into these different restaurants and different businesses, and we talk to them like, what do you have on your menu that might be vegan? Oh, do you think you could tweak this and maybe then it could be vegan? We'd love to have you on the tour. We're bringing business to them. We're making those connections in our own community. We're getting more places to put more vegan options on their menus. And for instance, one of the restaurants that we reached out to initially before we started the tour, Peace, Love, and Little Donuts. And they make these cute little mini donuts, and you can get them topped and flavored all sorts of different ways, and they're just beautiful. Like the restaurant is beautiful, and so we're like, let's just pop in here and see if they have anything vegan.
Artsy.
Like, yeah, it's cute. And when we did that, we were talking to them, and at the time they were like, well, we have almond milk for tea or coffee, and we have the capability to make a vegan donut. We just don't know if like there's much of a need for it yet, and
We haven't tried, and we
haven't-
don't know how
we
to.
haven't tried,
And we
yeah.
don't know what the toppings are vegan.
So we're like, well, how about this? We would love a vegan donut. So how about we put you on the tour for a tea or coffee, since you have an almond milk as an option for, you know, vegans.
With no surcharge, that's great.
With no surcharge, yes. And then, you know, within our first tour, don't you know, they had vegan donuts for us, and they have them at requests on Saturdays.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so this is Okay, so this just totally changed everything.
Yeah, and she invited me into her back storage and I got to teach her how to figure out what toppings are vegan, what toppings are not vegan.
Yeah.
I helped her put together like a poster of these donuts with these toppings are vegan, or these toppings are vegan, and it's just, or vegan friendly, of course. It's just been so like I cried because I was like, we're making changes. Like we're changing the world, even though it's small and tiny. And some people might say it's minute, but it's so exciting, and we're so excited to, you know, make more routes for St. Augustine, more tours. You know, you can have tour number 1 or the breakfast tour, or, you know, the boozy tour, or the brunch tour, or the dinner tour.
Alcohol options do you have? Can you make a signature cocktail? We have a lot of ideas.
And people and we're like, oh, there's, you know, we can go to Barnivore and double check and make sure that your alcohol is actually vegan.
Wow.
So we're just so excited.
You made me think, like, is this always at the same time of day? Is it?
Yeah, so our tours are always on Saturdays at 2, unless you call and you're like, hey, I want to do a tour on XYZ day. And then we give our vendors a heads up, like, oh, tomorrow we're having a tour. And then so they can prepare for how many, things like that. And also something that I love and what I really wanted to set up on the tour was I wanted everything paid for ahead of time. So people don't have to worry about like the bill, or like watch me fumbling with a tip, or have them wondering like, oh, should I tip or something, or any of that. So we pop up, we have our food, we eat, we chat, we're off to the next one.
Yeah. In the beginning, I thought this was just like, it's just a business. It's just a way you're making money.
Absolutely not. I'm not making any money much at all.
This is like activism on a whole nother level.
Yeah,
gentle activism.
It's gentle activism. Something that I would respond to before I was vegan, because the whole picket signs and things, like, they're great, they're fantastic, but it's not something I would respond to. I would be the first person to like throw my sandwich at them. I'm sorry, I would be. And I'd be the first one to be like, you need protein. Boy, would I be wrong. Like, I wouldn't respond to that. And so as much as I love those forms of activism, I have a hard time being a part of them because it wouldn't resonate with me. And I'm scared of it. I'm scared of someone being violent with me.
Yes.
This Food Tour V is my activism, and also competing, being an athlete. Once I get my trophy, stepping off stage, putting my botanically building robe on and my vegan t-shirt on, like my not bad for a vegan shirt on, and sharing like my hip peas or my no-nos with people and being like, oh yeah, I'm vegan. And they're like, what? How? Like, how are you winning at shows and not eating carcasses? And I'm like, let me help you. Like, I just genuinely want to help people. And yeah, I do charge, or I work off of a trade. I've worked with people where they did like my copywriting for my content or for my website, things like that, because I don't want to give it for free because it is worth something, and it takes a lot of my time. And I've taken a lot of time and spent a lot of money on my certifications and my knowledge, and so I want you to be just as invested as I am, and invested in yourself and your health and your wellness. So that's why I want it to be some kind of exchange, not just karmic, but some kind of exchange to be helping and hoping that they share their results with other people. Because at the end of the day, I'm not selling a workout, I'm not selling a meal plan, I'm selling results, and I'm selling a lifestyle shift, and I'm helping and giving these tools for people to see these results and having this shift.
Awesome. At first I was like, man, that's cool. Something I think I would want to do. Now I feel like I have to do this.
No, you the only thing in life you have to do is breathe. That's all I want you to do.
Did you say breathe?
Breathe. Just breathe. I haven't breathed, so that's out for me. These are my babies. Yes. Sometimes I want to have a birthday party for them, or like a business shower. People are like, oh, you're glowing. I'm like, I know, I just started a business. Thank you.
As far as like franchising this, like, I guess that's in the future, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And How far out in the future do you think that would be?
It would definitely be pretty far out because I'm brand new. I mean, no one knows what they're doing until they're doing it.
It's exciting though. I'm ready, man.
I have hired a business coach, and I've looked into other ones along the way, and I'm constantly listening to podcasts and Grant Cardone and people who are into business and really good. And some of it comes off real slimy to me. I'm like, if you book a free consult with me, I'm not going to give you sales pitches. I'm like, look, either you want to do it or you don't. Like, I'm not here to sell you in it. It's going to be great for your health. It's definitely going to be a shift. It's going to be, some work on your end, but I'm not going to sell you into it either. If you want to do it or you don't, I'm not going to sit here and pull out the pain and bring out all the sad points in your life and tell you how much better this is going to make your life. You already know. I'm not going to do all that salesy, in my opinion, garbage, what I paid a business coach to tell me to do. And I picked up a few of their things of how to run a business and how to run the books. But when it came to their sales things, I was just like, oh, that's slimy, man. I'm going to give them a refund. If this isn't for them, I'm going to divvy up their if they bought a package, I'm going to divvy up the months that they have left and refund them that. Or I'm not going to keep their money. I'm not out for their money. I'm comfortable. Before these businesses, I was a bored housewife. I don't need their money. I need their results. And if they're not actually doing the program, after 3 weeks, I'm going to have a hard conversation with them. They don't tighten up. I'm sorry, you're fired as a client. I'm letting you go. Like, I don't want to steal your money.
Yeah, but I was talking about the tour.
Oh.
I feel like I have to do this tour.
The tour, yes, absolutely.
But I mean, I do need to get into fitness because I don't do anything. Like, it's amazing. Like, going vegan, I didn't do anything but stop eating animals, and it was only for ethics. And 5 years later, I was like this closet ethical vegan. All of a sudden, I realized I didn't have a visceral fat belly.
Yeah, you look very fit. I would have had no idea. I thought you were like a runner.
No, I don't do anything. Like, I need to start doing something. So I really need some motivation.
Lifting weights, putting on muscle is going to be really healthy for your bones. Calcium is great, but I mean the whole like milk makes your bone. No, it's garbage. As Arnold put it best, milk is for babies. I mean, it's absolutely garbage. He's like, I don't drink milk, I drink beer. I don't drink beer, but it's garbage. Putting on the muscle is going to make you healthier. Put on the strong bones. And make you live longer. You don't have to be cramming the protein or anything like that. We can do it in a healthy way.
Yeah, but what's amazing about this, I'm having epiphanies here. Like the tour thing. Like, okay, imagine you're like me, right? And you're living in this little town where there's like 4 vegans that accidentally ended up there somehow, and there's nowhere. There is nothing.
You got Chinese food. We're gonna talk to them. We're gonna get the tofu.
Hold on, man. Like,
we'll make a tour in your area. We will.
That's what I'm saying. I could squeeze something out of it, and I have, but it's just really not. It's not very tour worthy, and it's definitely not happening on foot.
But I want to make it globally. I want to have tours all around the world for even when you're traveling.
But what I'm saying is like, imagine you're a vegan like me in this little town, and you feel like there's just no hope. Maybe at some point this franchise opportunity could be something like that says, okay, part of the plan is
you talk to restaurants, you get options.
You create the options because you're bringing them business.
You're bringing them business. Yeah. Our Peace, Love, and Donuts, they had a wedding catering event just because they offered vegan donuts. They had a full vegan donut wedding catering event just because. And she ran up to me and she said, thank you so much. What's your referral fee? And I was like, nothing, man. Just keep having vegan donuts on your menu. Like, just keep making the donuts. Like, the fat girl inside of me needs these donuts, okay?
Curious if there's anything that we didn't hit that you would like to throw out there.
I think we've been very thorough today. Other than we genuinely want to help people. We genuinely, want to show them a good time on the tour, want to introduce them to some new foods. One of our faves that shocks a lot of the non-vegans is a carrot lox. They're like, it tastes a lot like the lox, but it doesn't have that off-putting fishy smell. And I'm like, I love that you love that. That's awesome. So we really want to help people, and it's really a passion project. We're I mean, yes, it is a business, but that's not my first goal.
Yeah.
As a terrible business owner will say,
Yeah.
my goal is helping people and spreading it and just really, this is my form of advocatism and my form activism. Activating.
A new word.
Advocacy, I think you were going
Spoonerism.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Just merging.
Like Shakespeare, just making up some words. No. Activism. This is my form of activism, and because not everyone responds to the picket signs, and I do love the voiceless where they hold up
Anonymous for the voiceless.
Yes.
I love those, but it's something I'm a little scared of. I'm like, heaven forbid someone comes up and starts trying to fight you, or even worse, I don't want to put that in the universe or anything. It's not something I probably would have responded to. So I want to make avenues where myself, before I was vegan, because I haven't been. I didn't go vegan until I was 25, a quarter of a century. I want to make things that I would have responded to and be like, oh, it's not all kale and sadness. It's donuts and foods that I'm already eating, like a plant-based wine and cheese plate, phenomenal. I can nom.
Why didn't you go vegan sooner?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be vegetarian. I was in middle school, and it was when PETA was putting out a lot of those like kernel cruelty and things like that, and of course the boy that I thought was really cute was trying to go vegetarian, so I wanted to go vegetarian too, because I was big Becky and maybe that would be my chance. And so I told my parents, and they're like, no, we're having ribs tonight. Absolutely not. It's your fave with mac and cheese. And I was like, okay, just the mac and cheese. And they're like, oh no. And they're like, all right, we're having meatloaf tonight, that's it. And it was that way, like pretty much for a month. And I was eating like almost nothing. And I got really sick. And then my doctor was like, oh, you have to eat meat to be healthy. And then my sister, the same one who was like, let's be vegan, was like, it's in the Bible. I was raised really religiously. She's like, it's in the Bible that you have to eat meat. And I was like, this is such a moral conundrum, but I guess I have to because I'm feeling really sick and feeling really terrible. And so I wasn't, vegetarian anymore after my couple of weeks of really trying and really wanting to. And then I had completely kind of forgot about it until her call. And I'm so grateful that she called me, and I really wish she would have called me sooner. And I really wish that I knew the information that I knew then when I was a kid that I do know now.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What about you? Why didn't you do it sooner?
I would say, well, similar but different, I guess. Like, I just didn't have awareness of veganism at all. Like, I just didn't know about it. I knew about vegetarianism. I had a friend who was vegetarian. I liked the foods that she ate. So I was like, I think I'm vegetarian. I never much cared for, especially red meat growing up, was not my jam. And so I just avoided. And when I got old enough to have my own voice and talk to my parent about it, I went vegetarian, and I honestly never would have probably considered going vegan if it wasn't for my husband challenging me almost, or me challenging him back, Sometimes you need someone who would challenge you, And I think that's what we have here.
Absolutely.
There was ever a time where you didn't think that you could, you're like, there's no way I could go vegan.
No, pretty much when he was like, let's do this, and I was all in, I didn't really ever falter. I'll say my biggest switch over was the cheese, of course. We know cheese can be incredibly addicting. And honestly, that was hard, but I just sat with myself and was like, okay, what is it that's so great about cheese? What do you love about cheese so much? Like, what makes it so great? Salt and fat. And so I started eating a lot of avocado toast. And a lot of peanuts, yes. So my husband, for instance, because he did eat very heavily meat-laden diet, he would, for Father's Day, every year for the first couple of years, have a cheeseburger. Like, that was his cheat meal, of the year. And he just got to a point a handful of years back where he's like, I don't even want it. I always feel like crap afterwards. I feel, sad. Like, how could I do this? He felt bad health-wise. He felt bad moral-wise. I don't know. The further you're away from it, the easier it is. So, yeah.
Was there ever a time where you felt like there's no way I could do it?
Oh, absolutely. I remember the first vegan potluck I went to. It was before my sister had ever called me, and a friend had invited me, and it was shortly after college, and financially I was struggling, so I was like, free food, I'm there. And I was like, oh wow, like you guys can eat a lot of different foods, but you know, I'm an athlete and I need my protein because I work out at the gym every once in a while. And I was like, but you crazy vegans, like, wow, you guys have cookies and all kinds of foods, like, good for you. And I never thought I could go vegan. And even during my transition, even after October 1st, and people gave me a really hard time about it. I really questioned, and I was like, is this for me? Is it not? And my husband was really my rock and really my pillar of going like, this is true to your heart. I've seen you speak about it, and I see the look in your eye. I'm starting to tear up. And he's like, I see the look in your eye, and I know that this is your lifestyle. Don't falter for anyone else. Not for me, not for your family, not for anybody else. This is truly you, and I love it when you're truly to yourself. And I was like, thank you so much. So I did. I had struggles. Chocolate was my struggle, especially when we would go to my husband's work trips, and they would take us to different countries, and I couldn't find vegan chocolate in that different country. Of course, they're putting on all the chocolates for you, and I'd want them so bad, and I'd have a nibble here and there, and I'd feel so bad about it afterwards. And so my husband's like, you know what, we're just gonna prepare next time. We're gonna put chocolates in our bag, vegan chocolates, and we're gonna plan to prepare so you won't feel so sad about stealing from babies, so I don't have to hear about it later. And so it was, you know, those learning tools and those aspects of, okay, yeah, I cheated, but I'm gonna move on from it, and I'm gonna do better next time, and I'm gonna prepare next time, and I'm gonna bring my vegan chocolates on my trip so I won't even be tempted. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I got vegan chocolate right here in my hand. I'm eating it with you. Ha ha ha.
I've had people tell me if my wife or if my husband or whoever, my significant other, if only they did it. They always put it off on them. Do you think he could have done it without them?
I did for 2 years. So he was always the first to stick up for me, always the first to support me. And he's like, that's great for you, because that's your conviction, and that's your path, and your journey. And that's not mine. And it wasn't until his heart doctor said, Mr. Williams, you've really got to do that. And I really had to accept that. And I really thought he would never, and he isn't in it for the animals. I mean, as much as it really pains me, he fishes. He's a tournament fisher, and that's a big part of him, and it's a way he connects to his grandmother, and it really hurts my heart. And it's such a fine line, because I support him, and I support him doing his passion, but at the same time, I'm so sad that he's sticking hooks into the mouths of someone that just wants to eat. And I show him pictures of hooks being in dogs' mouths, and he's like, no, that's not okay. And I'm like, then what makes it okay for the fish? And it's something so hard for him. And I pray that, you know, I mean, I'm not very religious anymore. I put it out there to the universe, or whatever, spiritual, whatever. I really hope that one day he does come around and see that it does hurt the animals, and you know, maybe just wants to go out on his boat and look at the fish from the water or from his boat, and not have to stick hooks in them or anything like that. But I love him, and I support him just like he loved and supported me when he wasn't vegan and had no plans on going plant-based or anything like that. And so it's still something that I will get onto those forums on Facebooks and those groups of vegan without my partner being vegan, or vegan without my spouse being vegan.
There's groups for that.
There's a lot of support groups, and I really suggest going out to those and going on them, because those 2 years were a struggle, because I love him and I loved him with all my heart, but it was so hard being with someone who clashed so hard with me at meal plans, even though mealtimes he supported me, but I was so sad, you know, seeing the things that were on his plate. And so I'm so happy that he's changed now, and it was something that broke us up for 6 months. He eats
Plant-based.
plant-based
Yeah.
for his health.
And what about you? Like, could you do it?
So I think that eventually I probably would have found my way to veganism. Honestly, maybe perhaps in some ways I could have found my way there sooner. I was married very young. I got married at 19, so I was still figuring out who I am and sorting out what this world is. So I think, yeah, I think I would have found veganism, and I probably would have just dove right in.
So what's next? What do we have to look forward here? You're going to try to do these tours for a little while before you franchise. Anything else?
So I wouldn't necessarily be franchising. I would still be the owner, but I would be hiring other tour guides in other cities. I'm thinking Gainesville will be next. I'm also really thinking Jacksonville, Fernandina. I really want to tackle Florida first, just because that's where I have my business license mostly. And then expanding onto other cities here in the US and also globally. And my next bodybuilding bikini show is in 2 weeks from now, the NGA Showtime Classic. It's drug tested, same federation as the World Vegan Bodybuilding Federation, and it's gonna have a red carpet gala, so we'll be dressed to the nines there. It's free for friends and family. We'll have a lot of media outlets there, and I'm really looking forward to representing as likely the only vegan athlete there. So I'm really looking forward to even my gown. I'm just gonna put my logo on there. I'm gonna put vegan athlete on my gown. I got it custom made, so I'm really looking forward to sharing. Hey, look, yeah, you can be an athlete and be vegan. Game Changers, check it out. It's awesome. April 27th, 2023, and I'm sure you can find a YouTube video of it. It's a Showtime Classic. I'm sure you'll find it on my YouTube video channel, Botanically Building, as well.
Okay, yeah, and that's a good point. You have a YouTube channel, social media, you have the Instagram, the Facebook, and do you have any others that you over there?
We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on TikTok, we are on YouTube.
The websites.
Yes, we have websites.
Tiffany has a personal Instagram.
I do. Reach out if you wanna.
What's your personal one?
My personal Instagram is TiffanyScott713 at Instagram.com.
Awesome.
My personal one is Botanically Building, and then it morphed into my coaching one. So I get personal, I get coaching stuff, I get all over, and then you can also find me on Facebook. Botanically Building has its own page, and then I have a personal page, Becky Williams Gorley, and then also Food Tour V has a Facebook page as well.
Please reach out. No stupid questions. No stupid questions.
Yeah, no question is a stupid question.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm glad you fixed that.
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah.
That's why there's two of us.
No comments are bad comments, even if it's a little hard or smiley.
No, ask away.
Just putting a comment into any of our social medias is a big way to help us grow.
So you look at all the comments.
Yeah, I look at all the comments. I respond to every comment. Just putting a comment in is another way to help us in the algorithm, to help get it shown to someone else who maybe hasn't seen it yet. So it's just another way of doing activism by commenting on any vegan's stuff.
True.
Wow, you are heroes. You are like really doing some amazing things. Thanks so much for your time, and I guess we better call it a wrap.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Awesome.